The teacher didn't let me use the bathroom during class, so I kidnapped his children and skinned his dog alive. It was like any other day at school, long and boring. Except that day, I drank 5 cartons of milk. Not the best idea, I know. But that didn't matter, because it was in the past now. I was sitting there, and halfway through the period, my stomach makes the worst growling sound I've ever heard. I quickly raised my hand and asked to go to the bathroom, but my worthless teacher, Mr. Johnson, just said, "Not now, we're in the middle of a lesson." I said to him, "But I really need to go." He still didn't let me. The whole rest of the class, I sat there with a horrible stomachache, and it growled loudly for the entire period. Embarrassing. If it weren't for Mr. Johnson, I never would have been inconvenienced like that. So I made sure he would face the consequences of his actions. That night, I snuck into Mr. Johnson's house. He had 2 little children, 1 girl and 1 boy. I went to each of their rooms and chloroformed them. If I made any mistakes, it was game over. However, I was meticulous enough to make it out of the house with both children passed out, and surprisingly, the dog too. It was very friendly and did not bark at all. I simply picked it up and took it away. I threw the 2 children and the dog in the trunk of my car. After driving back to my house, I took each of them down to the basement. The basement was very secure, for it had multiple locks on the door and soundproof walls. It was perfect for keeping people down there. I never planned on actually harming the children in any way. I just wanted to make Mr. Johnson suffer. However, the dog was a different story. Mr. Johnson loved his dog, even more than his own children. It was old, and he'd had it for a while. I had the perfect idea. I was able to tranquilize the dog and place him on a medical table surrounded by various medical instruments. For hours, I worked to carefully peel away the dog's skin. I managed to cut it off all in one piece. The next day before school, I stuffed it in a box and mailed it to Mr. Johnson's address. I'm sure he wasn't very happy waking up that morning to see both his kids and dog missing. At school, I could tell he was visibly worried. His hands shook while grading papers. I walked up to his desk, leaned in close, and whispered in his ear, "Little Timmy, come back." That was his son's nickname. I thought it was hilarious. Mr. Johnson just closed his eyes and looked down. Then he sprang up at me. Luckily, I was fast enough to dodge him. I backed away and he started to run straight at me. Reacting quickly, I did the only sensible thing I could think to do. I pulled out my fully automatic M16 rifle, letting off an entire magazine into his face. He was unrecognizable. And being the most hated teacher in the school, students cheered. I was sent to court, but it was ruled self-defense. I guess he should have just let me use the bathroom.